Hey guys, welcome to Mzansi and USA News. Today I'd like to talk to you about President Thabo Mbeki's campaign for the African National Congress. This is very, very, very important. Last year, Thabo Mbeki wrote a letter to Paul Mashatile, Deputy President of the ANC, citing his reservations regarding how the ANC has conducted itself on the Phala matter in Parliament. He categorically stated in that letter that the ANC's position of using its majority in Parliament to prevent the report of the Section 89 committee from being tabled in Parliament left a lot to be desired. At that time, Mbeki still made a lot of sense. Now, Mbeki went further on a video clip that I will show you to state that he will not be campaigning for the African National Congress in these elections. But now, let's listen to this.
You live there now and listen in.
I know you are being put down. Oh, is it fine now?
Let us focus. We really appreciate such a huge turnout by members of the media this afternoon. On the
Okay,
occasion,
we'll jump this rhetoric.
On the occasion, the former president of the Republic, the stalwart of the organization, and our leader. And at this point in time, we will ask, at this point in time, there's a colleague in the media to just say a quick remark about the purpose of your visit here and your interaction with the people of Soweto.
Thanks, Mashleng. Well, let me join in saying thanks a lot for coming. It's not the best circumstances for us to hear one another. But as you can see from this, I came to Jaulani Mall to distribute this leaflet. To ask the people of Soweto to vote for the ANC at the end of April, 29th, of May. As you can see, I think the response is very good. I have not been in Soweto for some time, but I know the response of the people. Have campaigned here before and will come here again because I think it is important that we should indeed return the ANC to power. I know there are many problems in the country, even problems within the ANC. And so as
we should return the ANC to power. I know there are many problems in the country. What he's forgetting to mention is that those problems were created by the ANC and its policies, such as the BEE policy that has made cadres extremely rich at the expense of taxpayers, such as the affirmative action that has caused parastatals to fail miserably by deploying cadres who are completely unequipped, completely not qualified to run those institutions. Today, we are having load shedding that is almost permanently, which is pushing business out of South Africa. A lot of disinvestments because you can't run a business with intermittent electricity going on and off and at such unpredictable schedules. He doesn't mention that. All he tells us is we must vote for the ANC. Why? Because for him, ANC is a cult, it's a religion. Let's continue.
we say vote ANC, we're also making a commitment to the people that we will attend to the problems within the ANC itself to make sure that it is able to discharge its responsibilities to the population. But I think
by which authority will he do this, seeing that he's not an elected member of the African National Congress leadership? By which authority will he rein in people who have been elected by branches of the ANC? He doesn't make sense. In this very conversation, he's going to go further to state that he's an old man who is not an elected member. He's not an elected official of the ANC. Therefore, he doesn't have the authority to rein those people in that are in the top 6 of the African National Congress, that are in the NEC of the African National Congress. Let's proceed.
My knowledge of the people of Soweto is that they will listen to that, and I hope they will. Because it's a challenge to address all of these problems: unemployment, poverty, crime, everything. And I think
it's a challenge to address all these problems, poverty or crime. Once again, I would like to point out to you that these were strategically manufactured by the government of the African National Congress. Let me remind you, in case you forgot, when they took over power in 1994, they removed prayer from schools, they removed religious instructions from schools, they removed corporal punishment from schools, they removed corporal punishment from home by passing the Domestic Violence Act that forbids parents from raising their hands on their own children. Okay? Now, yet the scripture says, if you spare a rod, he who spares the rod hates his child. If you use a rod, in fact, this is how he puts it. He says foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, and a rod of correction will so far remove it. Now, of course, I'm not preaching to you. I'm simply pointing out that it has been known generations upon generations that children are foolish in their behavior, and for them to behave correctly, sometimes you need to use a rod of correction. Now, when the ANC took over, whoever is 35 years old today was 5 years old when they took over. When the ANC took over, the group of people that today are committing the crime is between 15 and 35 years old. That's where your rape, that's why we're number 1 in rape in the world. That's why we're number 3 in murder in the world, because of this group of people that grew up in this chaotic, anarchic way of governance. Yet Mbeki is still telling us to put that government into power. I want you to think about what he's actually saying. And furthermore, they also removed the death penalty. What I am saying, it is their policies that have chased business out of South Africa, that have caused a lot of youth that are self-entitled, that are extremely violent, that are completely rebellious to authority. It's the ANC's policies that cause all of that. Lawlessness, people who think police laws are meant to be broken, who think police should be bribed. It's the ANC's policies that did all of that. You have a bunch of police who shouldn't be police. You have a Begicele who was fired from being a commissioner of police in 2012 after he was appointed in that position in 2009. He was fired for what? For being involved in a corrupt scandal. Ramaphosa promoted him to being a minister. Can you imagine that? And Mbeki is saying that's what we should vote for. Okay, I don't want to be animated because I can feel that I'm warming up. I don't want to be animated just yet because I want to logically process what I'm telling you. Let's continue.
The ANC can do it, but it's an ANC that must be transformed. So I make that kind of commitment to this voter.
So according to him, the ANC that can do right by us to remove crime, to remove poverty, to create jobs is an ANC that requires transformation. Why isn't Thabo patriotic to his own country? Why isn't he saying exactly what Mandela said? If the ANC does to you what the government of apartheid did to you, you must do to the ANC what you did to the government of apartheid. Don't you think that this is the correct time for Mbeki to be saying that? I think it is. Why is he not patriotic as to say the ANC doesn't deserve your vote, let them have a cool time period of government? That's what he's supposed to be telling us right now. Not that we should go and vote for them. This is absolute nonsense. Consider that the man is 82 years old. So obviously I can't use expletives.
That will also attend to the ANC itself so that it can deliver on its promises. But thanks a lot thanks for coming.
Mr. President, is this an indication?
So now I want you to listen to the questions. This is where now he starts lying through his mouth. Not that he has not been lying all along. These people have clearly bent their conscience with a hot iron. And Mbeki is one of them. I can't believe a man can lie with a straight face to the public like this, can ask the public to commit a suicide like this by voting for the death of their nation. Who are these people? I mean, just a month ago, he said we must ask this question concerning Zuma, and I agreed with him. But why is he now misleading the nation like this?
That you have put some of your concerns about the ANC to one side for the purposes of this election.
Must be transformed. So I make that.
I've rewinded this so that you can hear that first question properly.
Kind of commitment to these voters that will also attend to the ANC itself so that it can deliver on its promises. But thanks a lot thanks for coming.
Mr. President, is this an indication that you have put some of your concerns about the ANC to one side for the purposes of this election campaign? And will we be seeing more of you on the campaign trail?
Definitely, yes. We'll be seeing me more on the campaign trail, but no, I have not put aside my concerns. The concerns that are expressed by the people, when the people say we're unhappy about this, about the other, about the ANC, those concerns are genuine. And we must attend to them. That's why I'm saying that part of what, when I say to people, vote ANC, I'm also making a commitment to the people that will attend to these problems within the ANC itself. Because it must really discharge its responsibilities.
Okay, President,
Did you hear that? We must vote for people who have brought our country to where it is. Guys, I want to run this slowly by you. The African National Congress did not inherit a country that was lawless during apartheid, from apartheid government. They did not inherit a country that was number 1 in rape in the world, a country that is number 3 in murder in the world. Okay? That's not what they inherited. That's what they produced. If you are going to do the things that they did, as I've mentioned on, like what they've removed, prayer, religious instruction, thereby removing restraint from young people, removing corporal punishment, all the things that they have done. If you read the book Naked Communist, you will come to the same conclusion that what has happened where we are is not by osmosis. It's by design. It's a deliberate, strategic intent to get South Africa to where it is. And Mbeki is saying we must give those people who did that to our country another opportunity. Why? Is it because Mbeki knows that most South Africans are on crazy tablets, or is he on crazy tablets? Why would we commit suicide? Let us go. And did you hear that he was asked a specific question and he lies? He says he has not changed his mind. You will see when we read the letter he sent to Paul Mashatile and the video publicly. I just want to allow these 2 questions to follow one another. Then we can see if he's telling the truth. Is he lying now or was he lying then?
Have you changed your mind about campaigning for the ANC?
I've never changed my mind.
So the statement that you said that campaigning for the ANC while there's all criminal activities happening within the party.
No, I've never changed my mind. I said to the ANC,
I want to rewind this once again so that you can get that question within its context. I don't want this individual, because this is a very important question. I don't want this individual's question
discharge its responsibilities.
Okay, President, why have you changed your mind about campaigning for the ANC?
I've never changed my mind.
So the statement that you said that campaigning for the ANC while there's all criminal activities happening within the party.
No, I've never changed my mind. I said to the ANC, the same point I'm making now. If ANC is necessary for the ANC to attend to its own internal problems, which they are. When the ANC said to itself, we must renew ourselves, that was very good. It comes from conferences. It was correct. The ANC must renew itself. Those are conference decisions because of what's not right within the ANC. So I've never changed my mind about this. That's why I'm saying I want to make a commitment as we campaign and say to the people, vote ANC. We must also say to the people, we'll also attend to this ANC. These complaints that you have must be addressed.
SIPC.
I just want you to see this video clip and tell me if he hasn't changed his mind. If he's telling the truth when he says he hasn't changed his mind. Listen to this.
If I ask the question, why is the ANC, which marginalized people as we are saying, why is it behaving like this? I say to the ANC comrades that when you say I must go campaigning next year, to say to people, vote ANC. How am I going to do that? To say, vote ANC. When I know very well that the branch of the ANC in this constituency is led by a criminal. You can't. It's not possible to go and say vote ANC for a criminal.
Did you guys hear that? That's the basis upon which these questions being asked by this journalist about him changing his mind come from. from the utterances that he made, that he cannot campaign for the ANC. How is he going to campaign for the ANC? This was last year. Now he claims here that he has not changed his mind. Well, the jury is up to you to tell me whether you think he's changed his mind. To me, it's clear. Let's continue.
The hand has been up, followed by ENCA, followed by Sunday Weld.
Samkelo from the SABC. Mr. President, you've not actively campaigned like this since 2007. Looking at the scenarios and the events that have taken place since then, do you feel vindicated that the man whom took over from you, who subsequently went to open his own party, do you feel vindicated that you were never part of what transpired post-2007? And do you think the incumbent leadership has what it takes to renew the ANC and to get over the 50% threshold this time around, knowing the electoral problems the ANC is faced with that individual from his
Samkelo must take into account that for all of...
Did you observe that he didn't allow Samkelo to finish his question? Did you observe that? That's the first point, and that's being just plain rude. Secondly, I want you now bear Samkele's question in mind. If you didn't get it, rewind it, and then listen to his answer.
Years that you are talking about, I've always been a member of the ANC during all of those years. So I think as a member of the ANC, I must take responsibility for what the ANC does or doesn't do, the rights and the wrongs of it. It's our fault. I'm part of that. And it's our challenge. I'm not an elected official of the ANC, but I'm a senior member of the ANC. And it's our responsibility as that senior leadership to make sure that we do the right things in terms of what the demands of the people are. And I'm saying even with regard to the competence, you'll see it in the manifesto of the ANC, when it talks about an ethical leadership, a responsible leadership. It's to address this matter, that the ANC itself must take care of itself to make sure that it is what the people expect of it, what the people expect of the ANC to be.
Thank you very much, ENC.
Now that doesn't make sense. In light of the question by Samkelo, that makes absolutely no sense. This is the first time I'm hearing Mbeki giving unintelligent answers publicly. Because this is what happens when you lie. And you know that you are lying. And you are hoping that the citizens are not going to see through you.
My question is very simple. There are people who say yes, the ANC collectively, you are cowards. Because you have a former party president who has taken an oppositional position and is campaigning for another party, and you just don't seem to have what it takes to decisively expel him. What is your position? Do you think he ought to be expelled right away, or this should be dragged beyond the elections?
You see, the position has been taken by the leadership, and I think they're probably right about this, is that there are certain set procedures in the constitution of the ANC as to how you expel a member. That it is necessary for the ANC itself to respect that constitution, so that it does not behave in any manner, in a lawless manner, in terms of its own laws. And therefore the decisions to take him to disciplinary committee and so on, that's what's prescribed in the constitution. It's not cowardice. It's that I think that loyalty to its own constitution is important in the same way that we must also be loyal to the national constitution. So I think the position that the ANC leadership has taken on this in terms of procedure is correct.
Okay, guys, at this particular moment, I think it's important that I should bring to your remembrance what Thabo said last year in a letter to Paul Mashatile, Deputy President of the ANC. There he cited his reservations regarding how the ANC conducted itself on the Phala Phala matter in Parliament. He categorically stated in that letter that the ANC position of using its majority in Parliament to prevent the report of Section 89 committee from being tabled in Parliament left a lot to be desired. Mbeki stated that this created an impression that the ANC knew that President Ramaphosa was guilty, and therefore any subsequent parliamentary processes that were established to deal with this matter would come to the same conclusion of his guiltiness. Hence, the ANC would defend the president by whatever means necessary, including using the tyranny of majority. by not allowing Parliament to table the report. This came out of Mbeki's mouth. Further to this, in 2007, which is directly linked to Samkele Maseko's question in this interview. In 2007, Mbeki was removed by the ANC conference and was told that he was unfit to represent the ANC, which thing Mbeki reminded them the following year when they asked him to campaign on their behalf. So in 2008, Mbeki told the ANC, last year, 2007, you said I was unfit to represent this organization. And from that time until now, President Mbeki has never campaigned publicly for the ANC, which is basically what Samkela Maseko was asking, to say, Mr. President, we've never seen you campaigning publicly like this since your successor, right, which is Jacob Zuma, right? You remember Samkela's question. Okay, this is the gist of his question. Now, this brings a lot of questions to mind. What has changed? Has the Phala Phala saga been resolved? I'll tell you what has changed. Jacob Zuma is no longer the president, and now he has his own political party. That's what has changed. Has the Phala Phala saga been resolved? Or is President Mbeki's hatred for Zuma that strong that it would propel him to forsake his own principles? President Mbeki spoke about counter-revolutionary activities in the letter to Paul Mashatile, which amongst other things included Nkandla and Phala Phala and the sabotage of Eskom as part of the counter-revolution activities. According to him, the people who are part of this counter-revolution are part of the ANC NEC. So does this mean he is now campaigning for counter-revolutionaries to be elected to power? What exactly is he asking South Africans? This does not make sense at all. The only thing that makes sense to me is that Thabo Mbeki is not driven by a principle here, but by his hatred for Jacob Zuma. You tell me what you think down below. That is my opinion. That is my assessment of what is happening here. And don't get it twisted. I'm not Jacob Zuma's fan. I'm just giving you my assessment of Thabo's behavior. I'm not talking about Zuma right now and how corrupt he is, because some people cannot hold one original idea and assess it in their heads. They are going to go haywire and helter-skelter and be everywhere. That's not, I'm talking about Thabo's behavior. Thabo's behavior is a clear departure from the principled man he portrayed himself to have been in public all those years. It's not like people like me are completely unaware that Thabo has corruption that he perpetrated at some point in time, which has never been properly investigated in the arms deal, and so many other things which we can point to when he was a president in his administration, including the suspension of Vusi Pikoli and so on. It's not like we are unaware of that. We are fully aware of it. But the point is, he has not campaigned for the ANC all these years. And last year he came out guns blazing that he cannot campaign for a party led by criminals, which to me appeared as though he's a man of integrity. Right now he's going just like Msimang. He's going against all those principles. Why? Why? The only plausible explanation here is that he is still hurt by what happened and he blames Zuma for it. Look, I'm a human being. I'm simply relating what a person from a human being's point of view, because the way I see it is his hatred for Zuma is so strong that he's willing to forsake what would otherwise have been regarded as a principle. And his hatred is driving him now to go out there and campaign for the ANC. Unfortunately for him, that horse has already bolted. We are not voting for the ANC. We are not voting for MK. We are not voting for EFF. We can't vote for the ANC, whether it's the ANC original, light, or whatever you want to call it. Why? Because none of these parties will bring us to the utopia that we want. All what we want as South Africans is roads without potholes for the amount of tax that we are paying. All we want is police visibility in places like Diepsloot, in places like Soweto, in places like Mamelodi, in places like Alexander, in places like Zude location, in places like Ekogolweni, in places like I can go on and on. We need visible policing so that there is law and order. and we need visible policing so that our women cannot be raped the way they are every day. 80 to 120 women are raped daily in South Africa. It's unheard of. It's really barbaric. Okay? It takes us all the way back before civilization. It's unheard of. And this government is soldiering on, and they claim to be empowering women. All we need is remove the criminals like Mbeki, because Mbeki and almost everybody in the ANC, NEC is tainted. And because we know they are the ones who are in the NEC, there's no way these criminals are going to send themselves to jail. That's why the ANC should be removed. And Mbeki is coming out lying and gaslighting the entire nation, pretending to be having powers that he doesn't have, of disciplining the cadres of the ANC. Really? Come on, guys. This is a joke. Get out of here. Mbeki has thoroughly discredited himself in my eyes. He completely lacks integrity. He will do anything for the ANC. And as I have already said, his hatred for Msholozi is apparently greater than his love for our country. You'll give me what you think down below. Let me love you and leave you. Ciao, ciao. See you in the next video. Bye for now.